Good day, audience. Welcome back to the discussion series on top 25 questions leadership must ask about GRC for artificial intelligence. This time, we will discuss about the aspect of model assurance, which contains of 3 questions and answers with Carole Switzer and Dittmar, the co-founder of ICG and the fellow of ICG. Good day, Carole and Lee. It's good to see you both of you again.
Hi, Anton and Lee. Good to be with you again.
Hello, Anton. How are you? Carole, good to see you as always.
Carole and Lee, in the paper that you co-write, i.e. the top 25 questions leadership must ask about GRC for AI, you actually suggest that there are 3 questions need to be addressed by leadership, which are related to model assurance. As such, may I start with you, Carole, on the questions number 1, i.e. how do we ensure that the algorithms and models developed in our artificial intelligence system are explainable, reliable, and trustworthy? In reference to that question, Carole, would you please to give your insight about what is the expected outcome of or why this particular question is being addressed by 2 or the leadership, and whether the board and all leadership must have specific or in-depth knowledge of AI in order to be able to ensure that the algorithms and models are developed in their organization are explainable, reliable, and trustworthy.
Yeah, the issue of model assurance is a very important one. First, let me clarify. Model assurance is the process of validating, ensuring that your performance of machine learning or AI model is reliable and accurate. So what you're doing is an overall evaluation of the model to make sure that it meets required standards and aligns with business objectives and complies with ethical guidelines. So when you're looking at the issues that are most important, is it explainable? Is it reliable? Is it trustworthy? There are a few ways that you would go about this. For explainability, you really want to look at whether there are interpretable models. Are there models that inherently better? Do they reveal their decision-making process clearly? Do they highlight contributing factors? Do they use reliable data and validation techniques? These are all things that contribute to the model's accuracy and its adaptability to different situations. You build trust through transparency, and we talk about transparency a lot when we're discussing the use of AI. So you want to make sure that you're clear about your data sources and your decision criteria. And in that respect, I think collaboration is very important to the outcome. So you want to work closely with domain experts who understand the real-world impacts of the use of data, and you want to get regular user feedback so that you can make improvements to make the AI systems more user-friendly and clearer so that you end up with the results that you're looking for. And let me just add one more thing. You asked whether the board or leadership needs to really have specific knowledge or understanding at an in-depth level of AI. And obviously, the answer has to be no. We can't be expecting our board and our leadership to be experts in this very technical area. So it is really important that those who are providing the reports and the information to demonstrate the explainability, reliability, and trustworthiness of the system, do it in plain language, do it in ways that leadership understand, and do it in ways that relate to very strong understanding of the business objectives and the processes that go on in their organization.
Thanks, Carole, for your thought and answer. Now, may I turn to you, Lee? For the second question, as quoted in the paper, may we hear from you some insight related to the questions number 2, i.e. how are we assuring that our design, deployment, and use of AI models are compliant with all relevant laws, regulations, industry standards, and internal policies, and what process and systems are we implementing to monitor, report on, and ensure compliance over time? In addition to your elaboration, Lee, would you please share some examples of how this question practically being addressed by the organization and how it's being handled in an organization? Please, Lee.
So from a practical perspective, Anton, I think of 3 broad elements: system of record, portfolio of testing tools and methods, and monitoring and reporting capabilities. And then I recognize the three lines of defense that we think of in traditional enterprise risk management. One, operational management. In the case of AI, the people that are building and managing and deploying the AI systems. Two, the risk management professionals, compliance professionals, and governance professionals. And three, auditors, audits and independent assessments. So let me talk a little bit about this thought of the system of record, portfolio of testing tools, and reporting capabilities. The system of record needs to be used to capture the existence and the status of all AI used in the organization, from the design through the deployment, through its retirement, and everything in between. So this would capture the information about the applicable laws, rules, regulations, standards, and internal policies applicable to each AI, and what is being done to test to assure that these requirements are met. And also, very important, let's not forget that third parties that are part of our extended enterprise will also be using AI. We need to think about that as well in our system of record. So the second component, the second element, is this set of processes, tools, and technologies that you can use to demonstrate to yourself and to others that the systems are performing the way that you intended them and that they are in compliance with, rules, regulations, standards, and policies. And this will be a robust set of tools and some advanced technologies. And in the not too distant future, this will include sort of AI on AI as well. And then the final element is the reporting capabilities, to build in the ability to know quickly the status of systems and whether or not things are performing the way intended, or whether you have data drift or performance issues with the outcomes of particular models. And this needs to be able to meet internal and external stakeholder needs. So that's what I see coming. I see this becoming an enterprise strength system, and it will be necessary to manage the complexity and what is soon to be sprawling AI programs with many, many models that will become reality in the not too distant future. Now, what are we doing, in this context? Well, we're validating and verifying, ensuring the model is built correctly and that it does what it's supposed to do, that we're doing performance monitoring, continuously tracking a model's performance to ensure that the models maintain accuracy, efficiency, and reliability over time. Bias and fairness assessment, and not just once, not just during the initial design and testing, but on an ongoing basis. This includes implementing techniques to detect and mitigate biases in the training data and the model outputs. Explainability. This is so important with regard to user adoption and the achievement of value. This involves providing insights into how the model makes decisions and what factors influence its outputs. Security and robustness, we've talked about this in earlier video sessions, protecting the model against adversarial attacks. Data quality management, we spent a lot of time talking about this. It is all about the data and ensuring that the data used to train and validate the model is accurate, complete, and relevant. Lifecycle management, managing the model throughout its lifecycle from development to deployment and beyond. Compliance and governance, having a framework, that allows you to look at all the models and make sure that they adhere with relevant laws, rules, regulations, and standards. And this includes the role of risk management, compliance, and governance professionals, including boards. And last but not least, the role of audits and independent assessments, the third line of defense in traditional enterprise risk management.
Thanks, Lee, for the explanation. Now, we come to the next point of discussion that relates to the questions as follows. How are we monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness of our AI compliance program? And what metrics are we using to measure the success and identify areas for improvement? As such, I also invite you back, Carole, to give your view and insight also of this particular question and share to the audience what's supposed to be well prepared by leadership leadership in organization as the answer to this particular question. And in addition, Carole, would you please also share some example how the AI model assurance is practically exercised in an organization? Please, Carole.
Yeah, making sure the right metrics are in place to evaluate the effectiveness of the AI program is critical, just as it is for any business operation. I think that the types of metrics and the things that are measured are going to be very different in different organizations. So, one example, in financial services, you may have a need to explain or share information about the explainability of your credit scoring model, not only within the business, but with your customers. So you want to use model assurance techniques to provide very clear explanations to customers about the factors influencing their individual credit decisions. You're going to enhance transparency, and you're going to help customers understand that decision-making process. Now, let's say you're in the business of driverless vehicles, one that scares me. So if you're creating autonomous vehicles, you're going to employ your model assurance to test your algorithms that provide the driving direction to those vehicles. So you're going to do a lot more testing. You're going to simulate different driving conditions. You're going to address potential surprises like adverse weather effects that pop up or accidents on the road. You're going to do all kinds of things in different testing to make sure that your AI system is reliably responding to those real-world scenarios. So in that instance, testing is probably, and then simulations are probably the most important ways that you're going to measure the accuracy of your model and how it's operating. I'll give you one more example. Let's say you are in healthcare and you're using model assurance to protect patient privacy in your diagnostic AI system. So here you're going to make sure that your model only extracts the data that's absolutely necessary for accurate diagnosis without compromising other potentially sensitive patient data. And you're going to check that through regular audits and assessments to make sure that you're complying with the policies you put in place and with applicable healthcare privacy regulations.
Carole, thanks for the answer. And now I would like to invite Lee to share your insight and also insight related to the particular question. How are we monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness of our AI compliance program? And what metrics are we using to measure success and identify areas for improvement? And likewise, in addition, please share some illustration of good practices which might lead to a new competitive advantage if it is a good practices, and which might lead organization into the trouble if it is an example of bad practice.
Thanks, Anton. I love this question. You know, one of the important things to recognize is that we are still in the early stages of AI, development and use. It's going to move very quickly, but we're not yet at the point where we're even close to, broad deployment. And what I see is necessary, especially when you think about being able to demonstrate, compliance, is there's a whole ecosystem of processes and organizational changes and tools and technologies that are going to need to come into being in order to accomplish this important and challenging task. So it isn't just the AI, it's when AI is in the fabric of the business, you're going to need the different types of controls and new processes and different types of reporting in order to meet all of the stakeholder needs, right? In order to address, not just compliance, but, the broad needs of the multiple stakeholders that, will have, concerns about, how AI is being used and how it was built. Now, with regard to, what I see as providing competitive advantage, I think that leading organizations will develop this set of tools, but a systemic approach where there is a system that allows all those that need to know the status and the circumstances and the performance of AI throughout the enterprise. challenges. I imagine, in fact, I've worked on the design of this already with one of my startups. I imagine a dashboard which is identifying, maybe it'll be color coded, maybe it will be some sort of other quantitative measures, but we'll be able to see those models that require attention, those models that are in a dire strait, and those that are performing fine. I think that's the view that we need to have. And I think that organizations that develop that capability and make it systemic are going to have a huge advantage because they're going to know what's happening. Oh, I probably should note, in a recent project that Carole and I did, we found that most organizations did not even have a system of record to be able to know where and when AI and how AI was being used in their organization. It's an interesting observation. That research was last fall. And, in things that are going to get you in trouble, think about this. We've got the EU AI Act coming into force, the beginning parts of its effectiveness, this calendar year. Are organizations prepared for that? And, will they be able to even do the first step of the identification of the risk level and do it in a way that can be trusted and defended? I guess we'll see. So there's a lot to do. It's exciting times. And I'm actually, really interested to see how this all evolves.
Thanks, Lee, for the answer. Now, audience, we come to the end of discussion, and allow me express our sincere thanks to both of you, Carole and Lee, for the discussion of the aspect of model assurance. As regard to the top 25 questions leaders must ask about GRC for AI, we do believe this aspect is very, very important and critical. And I would like to invite audience to give our thanks to Lee and Carole for their thought, aspiration, practice sharing, and the like.
Thanks, Antonius, and goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Anton. Thanks, Carole. We'll see you soon. I can't believe that our next episode will be the final installment in what's been quite a significant journey here.
See you all again in the next discussion about the aspect of stakeholder management. See you in the next occasion.